Okay, so we're back. The last guy who said there's no audio, thank you. Your timeout should be over shortly. It was just for 30 minutes. We still like to hear that kind of stuff, and I'm just being vigilant. So yes, 30 minutes, should be back anytime. And we brought some new gear. We got streaming IPTV encoder with an HDMI input. We got a switch. One thing though, I think I'm short of an Ethernet adapter for the laptop, unfortunately. So we'll see what we can do. Pardon the audio, I still don't have the nice mic. It's in a box, you know, about half this size probably, and just don't have the space for it right now. Yeah, I have a splitter, so we can take one signal in and put it out to a monitoring display as well as the IPTV encoder. So the encoder, what we do is we have a box like this, the carputer, that has an HDMI output like this. It actually has a, I think, mini HDMI. So I've got an adapter and we can plug it into this screen. The 3 that's in there right now works for sure. The 4, I think I have it with me still. Has an issue. Where would it be if I had it? Yeah, so I usually don't like to take stuff out of my trunk in this neighborhood. You get me? But we're in the homeless war room today, and these assets are going live immediately. So even if it's jacked from me on my way back out, you know, we can just rebuild a new kit, given a few $100s that this stuff cost. And if I were to resell it, it would take time for sure. And it could all go for maybe $100. So, like the Yeti mic, I could have pawned it for $15, but I decided to start uploading videos to the channel with it. Audio is really an extremely, if not the most important part of a channel, so I should be grateful and use that microphone as much as possible. Yes, so it looks like we're gonna get going on the Raspberry Pi 3 because we do not seem to have the 4 with 8 gigs of RAM with us. That's okay. The same SD card boots both of them, and the next generation will have a regular NVMe drive, one of the shorter ones. Usually you can do longer ones, but why not do a shorter one? The official one is a short one. I don't remember, 2280 or something. And let me do one thing at a time. And since this is the 3, we do not need the mini adapter. It has a full size plug-in. And then we have a power adapter. We can take a USB-C in, and it's USB-A micro, I think, in. Okay, I'm starting to standardize on USB-C power because it's like Ethernet now. So we have a 20 watt, which I think is underpowered still for the 4, which I didn't realize. That may be my problem if I updated the firmware and it gets more strict about the power or something like that. And I wish I had an extension cord, but I do not technically, although I keep my devices plugged into the strip most of the time, but it's actually kind of in shambles, so we can reassemble it easy enough. We want to get power to this. So this will give us maximum distance. Red light, boot screen, TV turning on, as you can perhaps see in the periphery. Sweet. I believe the screens are mirrored, so this is what's on the screen up there as well. And this needs replacement, but it works for now. Has its own battery that can charge, and it was left on, so let us connect it to a USB. Got this light. Pretty crafty for a homeless guy. Who let this guy in? All the big providers are like, who let this guy in, man? This guy's a threat. My gosh. Look at all those wires, man. Look at all those boxes. How did Google start? With like a bunch of spare hardware, right? How long ago? Technology doubles every how long? Oh yeah. Yeah, so since I'm moving to USB-C, I don't have a lot of the older USB cables with me. So I've just got a very short one. Oh, and I have a battery pack. So, improvise. Oh my gosh, that word is so threatening. Improvise what? A keyboard battery based on this charger. There we go. So I will brave, maybe I can prop this up. And is it actually mirrored? No, it is a split screen. So this is the extended desktop. So I will brave moving the camera. go. Pretty good, yep. So this is a tool that a homeless guy can carry around. This is the dev kit, but I've shown this carburetor head before, and then on my dashboard I have a little mounting spot. Cooler with the whiteboard. Yeah. All right. Welcome to the 2 concurrent viewers. Who it does not show in the chat, eh? At the most recently available time, eh? Cool. Okay. We're at war with homelessness. This is stream number 2. The previous one failed because after about 2 hours, the encoder completely gave out. So we had some food. We talked about this model up here. This is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and since it's pretty drawn out, take another picture of it. That was my poopy underwear. I meant to drop off in the car, but I left it in my coat pocket, wrapped in paper towels, so very gross. For the first stream, I pooped my pants. It wasn't cool, but we got through it. I did bring in a clean pair that I can change into in the bathroom. I just wanted to get back on the stream. Maybe we'll take a break and I'll do that real quick. We are at war with homelessness. Specifically my homelessness, because if I can't solve my homelessness, I can't solve anybody else's. I think homeless people should not be friends with each other. So friendship is like way up here when your love needs are starting to be met. Hopefully people will clip up the previous stream. If not, at some point I'll have to do that and edit it in that kind of way. But yeah, I'll snap a picture of this real quick and I'll explain it real quick. And if I had access to this kind of space more with all my equipment set up and good, I could be doing a lot of good work. To do that requires, you know what, the M word, money. So this is what all that grifting that people do buys behind the scenes. And I share things on Instagram. So, Urban Camping Pro. So I've got the physics of homelessness is the whole picture. Perfect. Oh. So all of this, the whole 4 parts, Urban Camping Pro, doing business while homelessness, and TBD, are the physics of homelessness, which was originally going to be 1 part, but it got to be like 60 pages just with draft notes. So broke it into Urban Camping Pro, and what we're doing right now is literally doing business while homeless, figuring this stuff out. But the business would be making some money, and Urban Camping Pro is one way of doing that. So we could edit Urban Camping Pro. I've got a $3 prepay thing set up already to help push it along, and a draft is published already, so you don't have to pay anything. It's going to be open source, but yeah, if you voluntarily want to support it, then you can do that. And then once it's finished, then we can go through the Kindle Developer Program or whatever, KDP I think, whatever it is, easy Google away, and publish that as a paperback. So we get it good, we get some illustrations going. I've already developed a style of illustrations and done a couple. I believe they're in the source code repo on GitHub. Search for Urban Camping Pro on GitHub and you'll find it. It is in like PDoc format, I think, and it will publish to PDF and HTML. So yeah, that's a business. It's something that's making money even without me actively working on it. But we have to do a bunch of work to get it to the point where people will pay money for it. So we can't rely on, oh, we're homeless and so people will support us. But it's like, okay, how can I do something that takes my skills and, you know, my domain expertise? And I'm backing up the audio for people who say the audio is bad, so don't worry about it. But it'll take time to edit it into business that could generate ads, right? So Urban Camping Pro, I Spooge Daily, it's sort of just marketing practice, but we can use any eyeballs we might get to and, you know, announce our other work. So it's like a system of record for a homeless person or a person in general. Homeless just really is focused on Urban Camping Pro details and a little bit of doing business. Like they're getting their life to a secure position. And then once they're there, then they can figure out the love, the family, the coworkers, the friends, and then the esteem, the crafts, which is like doing family improvements, home improvements, property, asset appreciation, even making assets, crafting assets, career. So these are kind of pillars. This is really borrowed from Wikipedia. It seems like the format has changed since I did this in like 2021 or 22. So Wikipedia has versions. You can go back versions to that time. And I can probably do that to figure it out because I'm really sure that I found these headings on that Wikipedia page. So I think it's been reformatted, or maybe I just read it in detail and gleaned it from the text. But yeah, so I took a picture of it. I think I added that since I've taken the picture. So, open source, this work is open source. It is based like on prior work, which a lot of open source does. So nothing too delusional. What's up, chat? KMZ, Azimuth, what's up? All right, so we're probably 80% of the way up the biological needs being met. And an exit criteria for security needs being met might be 12 months of savings in the bank. And layers 3 and 4 are to be determined. Do I even think that far ahead? So these can be green, yellow, or red. And if a lower one is not green, then, or at least yellow, you can't really jump much higher than this. So doing a live stream is somewhere like up here. It's between love and esteem. And so if I'm like down here somewhere, this is a pretty big jump. So once we get, higher and higher, the jump is less and less. Stuff is building up. You should definitely jump in life, definitely get some slam dunks. But that's exactly what it is. It's like, I've got to be so ready to execute and carrying that crate past a bunch of people who might rob me, that I might be robbed on my way out. That I've got to just do enough work with this through making the video that even if I get robbed, I can just rebuy a new kit. So that's a reasonable jump. If I were, there's been times where I've been so low, at the very, very bottom, no money, no phone service, during pandemic, everything falling apart, just literally solitary confinement would be a rational and reasonable way of describing that time. I was on the edge of Golden Gate Park in the car, thankfully, and I got out an hour a day to go for a walk in the park because they didn't want you staying out longer than an hour a day. And in the city, looking how I look, people definitely would have had the park staff bugging me if I would have just walked around all day. Because even as an essential worker at a grocery store, so there was time that I was working and there was time that I was not working for a couple reasons that I've talked about. And that was a good 8 or 9 months into pandemic. I worked for probably 8 or 9 months, something like that. because I was on a 6-month temp, and since pandemic was ongoing, I extended. So it's like 3-month seasonal, so it might have been less than 6 months. Anyway, that's what we've got all these receipts for. We can figure that out very easily. But we've got to digitize them and make them queryable. Or I can just sit down and concentrate and draw. As I've basically done already, I've drawn a lot of these data sets out by hand. And so what we find in the paper trail should match up and just exactly tune my rough estimates. So I could say I have estimates for the most part. They're just not like at the top of my head because I didn't do any kind of preparation. But yeah, we're gonna stay up all night and just like do whatever comes to be inspired. Whatever inspires, that's much easier. So yeah, doing business while homeless basically is reaching the exit criteria based on the fundamentals of camping. Moving up the gradient in housing. We get there. And these might not be while homeless. This might be like love after homelessness or something like that. Because now you're good. You're a business, you built up. And now it's like because trauma is stuff that changes your relationship with the world. And so it changes so much that you shut out love. Maybe you're not against love or anti-love, you're just so guarded. And you have so little resources because all of your energy is going into building yourself up to the point where, okay, I love myself, and it's been proven through my actions over a long period of time. Now I can love other people. Bro, how do you deal with covert narcissism and bullying in the workplace? By not addressing it as much as possible, leaving it as much as possible. So if you can't leave it, then don't address it and be as good as possible. Don't drink, don't do that kind of stuff. Anything that lowers your vibration. Fast from meat. This is all fasting. You can go back to it. Just fast from it for a while. Oh, how's that working out for you, homeless guy? Right? So you'll either take it or, go along with the mob and be like, homelessness is a garbage disposal for people. And so there's definitely going to be a member of every mob watching out for the guys that they know are homeless. Or, whatever the black sheep condition. I'm saying homeless because that's my black sheep to the world situation, Pseudoscience vibrational fields. What have I said about vibrational fields today? Come on. So you're clearly a watcher. Because all I'm talking about is stuff that is like scripturally supported, like the Daniel diet. Why was Daniel on his diet? Roberto, if you can't leave it, don't address it. This is a job I can't afford, want to leave, but the resistance is from the top down. So, I mean, look, if you don't mess up and they fire you, you've got unemployment, which is a fraction of what you make, but hopefully your expenses are also minimized. So in startups, there's the runway. And somewhere in here, there's the black marker. Is lacking the insulation. You've got to carry everything with you. You don't have a lot of storage. So you end up paying for a storage unit, paying for a gym, paying for the transportation. You have car insurance, which, you know, it's still $50, $75 a month. That's something. If you want to have a phone, that's $15, $20 a month. Storage, $70 for a 5x10. Maybe you get lucky, you get it for $50. So you're paying quite a bit, and you still don't have a house to live in. And so you're not saving this money either. Froze. All right, so oh, snap. No, it's back. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, does that make sense? So like, to satisfy housing, you've got storage, gym, car insurance, gas to get around, extra oil changes, because if you're using the heater when it's cold, that sort of limits your climate where you're going to live too. Like Pacific Northwest, where I am, it is prime because it barely gets to freezing. It might get to 35 degrees. So if you're in Minnesota and winter comes, this is where like all the human trafficking and stuff comes in, like, because then why not just leave the abuse? Well, it's a 10-mile walk to the homeless shelter. You probably need at least a small suitcase worth of stuff, you know? So you endure until April or May, which, man, I don't want that to ever be official advice from me. Just endure it till April or May, no problem. But if there's truly no way, then yeah, God will protect. So you just can't like freak out. And man, I should not give any advice. You know, if I retract whatever I've said, because it's the same reason homeless people should not be friends, because then that will not, if that does not work out, then it comes back to me. Oh, I was just listening to this guy. Everyone is making their own decisions. So yeah. Once I'm out of homelessness and I like officially have accountability and stuff like that, then it's different. But it's like the same reason managers and employees can't be friends. Like if you want to be a manager, you can't really be friends with your coworkers either. You can until stuff goes wrong. So it is not smart. So yeah, this is like the high-level roadmap of the physics of homelessness. We're at war with homelessness today. We're going to stay up all night. It's going to mess up our biological needs for tomorrow, but all we really have tomorrow is a bunch of cleaning, so it's all good. So yeah, another thing we can do is set up the carputer. All right, zero proof of God in our reality. Okay, that's cool, but that's one person bringing it up, where I don't think I'm really saying too much about that right now. Maybe in other times, yeah. So how about if that derails something that I'm saying? Okay. But right now, the physics of homelessness. What do you think, Roberto says, what do you think of Charleston suing every job for $10,000? Get a job, act up a protected. I don't think about it. I've never heard of it. And see, this is why coming online and doing chats and stuff like that is dangerous, in fact, for me, because now people want to like get clips, say, oh, well, do you know about it? Yes, now it's a fact, I know about it. Like, even though I'll forget about it after this. Right? So I'm jumping, and every jump doesn't succeed. Some jumps you fall down and break your ankle, and that's you guys coming into chat and kicking my ankle. So if you're not purposely doing this on purpose, then you're at least being very unwise by asking this sort of thing. Because why is this all people want of me? Record discrimination and okay, what does that have to do with what I'm talking about? You want to come on here and talk about some stuff like that? 30-minute timeout. Okay. Notice zero proof of God in our reality is not a timeout. Should it be a timeout? Coffee, delicious with coconut milk. Acting all rich. So I'm going to get another picture of this real quick. White balance is something that I sort of knew about, but it's actually really hard to use on the iPhone screen. But once I saw somebody talk about white balance being a magic maker, I'm like, okay, I'll annoyingly drag that little sun up or down. So yeah, doing business while homeless. We've got different, like basically my Gumroad page, which I forgot to put that link in the bio, but I will after the stream. I'll update it. Or I could update it right now because it'll take less than 5 minutes to do. Edit. It might take less than 5 minutes if the computer doesn't act up too much. So yeah, Gumroad. All right, updated. And since that was so fast, I'm going to update the previous video to have it too, because I prefer people buy things from me than to just give me money. But there's room for charity if you're so low down. And I've accepted $0 of welfare ever. Charity and welfare are different. I have a video on the topic on the channel. If you go to the channel page, you can search across the channel, and that will find what the difference is between charity and welfare. Was I saying charity and poverty? Charity and welfare. I think that's what I said. I'm just going to update the previous video real quick. See, like, I get like little downloads about what the trolls would be saying, like, well, once he started getting called out, then he started banning people. And if not, I'm just like giving you guys things you can write. So if you want to give me a fee for copywriting for you, then that would be sweet. So I did let OBS finish up the encoding of the previous video. So even if there was like choppy audio and stuff like that on the live stream, it's possible that it was all saved locally, but just delayed so much that YouTube might have cut it off. So it might have just been received so late that it's like, well, we don't have it, so we got to ship, and it doesn't have it right now, so you guys heard chops. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, save. There, we did some business. We updated some copy. So, can't have too many pictures as well. So one good habit to get into is just downloading your iPhone pictures and then like deleting everything from it. So then you've always got all the space, and then you've always got everything into your backup system. All right, so physics of homelessness. I guess there's not a need to erase it right now, but the next topic would be getting the carputer going. What can we do with the carputer? We could use it as an origin for this stream. So I think I have another camera in here, or maybe it's in storage. Yeah, I have the Pi Cam, which would actually be okay if we are streaming the screen, but then I think, I don't know if, I think this has a problem where it can't be displayed on the HDMI unless you do something or other. I really want to, I don't know. We can try it out, I guess. See what happens. Yeah, all I'd have to do is just try to play it on this TV screen without doing anything else. So, is the video still going? It's a little delayed on my end, even. All right. All right. So I'm okay with just unplugging it, no problem. And then remove the cover. Plug in the ribbon in the right direction. By the way, why don't I check my email? That's one of those jumps. And just like going live on social media, there's certain landmines that can be in there. So it's a big jump that can really blow your leg off. And it takes a lot of time to craft a response where, like, personally, I would prefer to just have a phone call. That's why my consulting service is phone call. No email, stuff like that, just phone call. Because then you're just present for a little while. And the camera seems to be plugged in successfully, but then there's a little slot in the HDMI cover. And so if I want phone call, why don't I just give out my phone number? Well, that's what the $5,000 service is. From there, you can schedule a phone call with me for an hour, a day in advance. Like, so you always know, tomorrow I can talk on the phone for an hour. And you just give me $5,000 and that's all it costs. And then you can make way more than $5,000 with stuff that you get from me. So there might only be so many of those sold. Let's try this again. Power. So a homeless guy with the database is way scarier than a homeless guy with pretty much anything else. Looks like we will have to run the command line interface for the camera, which is just raspicam dash. Or did it change to something else more generic? Pi. I think it changed to something else in, I don't know if it's just in Ubuntu Mate, but I switched over to the Raspberry OS the mappings. So let's see. Raspberry OS 3D camera CLI. Camera software. How do I enable the camera without using Raspberry config? Well, Raspberry config to enable the camera is a start. Let's try that. Maybe enabling it will install what I'm thinking of. Sudo. So you imagine you're a homeless guy and you're just carrying this computer around. I've been carrying this around since, well, not like literally, but the first version that I made was like 2000. I think it was the Raspberry Pi 1, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I had a little battery pack and it just had the same HDMI connection as the Raspberry 3. So I think it's under interface. Nope. Back. Advanced. Nope. Display. Nope. I already disabled on-screen keyboard. That was annoying. It might be implied if you, I forget if it's under I2C or SPI, but let's skip out on that for now. Let's see what the command is. Wow, there's a 132 page PDF on the Raspberry Pi camera. It's crazy. Yeah, so that's a big reason to go with the Pi is like there's so much support for it, both officially and unofficially. Hence my betting my emerging business on the platform. I did experiment with some alternatives and it's a mixed bag. Raspberry Pi though is every single board I've gotten has been good. My trouble with the 4 I think is my fault for underpowering it. What can we do? Strongly doubt there's going to be a built-in webcam viewer that'll work with it. Maybe it's under Pi. pi still. Sometimes if you type it, it will say what command it's in, what package it's in. It does not. That name doesn't ring a bell to me though anyway. RPyCam. There we go, RPyCam still. RPyCam. We can do vid or still. Let's try vid. Sweet. Works. Oh, it turned off. There's a 30-second timeout by default. And did we lose the camera? We did. There we go. All right, so, yep. So now I'll just run that again. So you'll notice there's this speaker here. You're going to see it in the top left of the screen. So this is the camera. Oh, timed out again. I think I can just do -T0 now. Alright, so there's the camera. You're seeing, hey, what's up, buddy? Oh, not too much, man. Just chilling. Man, if only I were not a camera and I could drink some coffee, eh? Hey, here's the rest of my body. What's up? Whoa. Is this a video game? Wow. So now we've got a new degree of freedom because you're just seeing the TV screen, and I can just move this around and put this on the TV screen. How cool is that? So we get like emergent possibilities because now we've got two things working together. Cool, man. Well, what can we do with this now? So this can mount on my dashboard. It's actually got little screw holes in it already. You maybe see that. And I've got like different Velcro and stuff like that as well. So yeah. Low voltage apparently. But yeah, so now what we can do with this is can get the IPTV encoder going. And the Raspberry Pi itself has an Ethernet port, and I've set it up to receive its own video before, so we can do without the switch. Let's take an HDMI cable on the which port? The in? Yes, of course, the in, and then Ethernet is out. Power. So here's this portion. IPTV encoder. And I think we have a longer Ethernet cable. Simplify. One cool thing I really want to mess with is, which I have gotten to work, is this e-paper display. This is a 3-color, black, white, and red. So this works in direct sunlight, similar to a Kindle screen, except it doesn't have the light guide. But yeah, we can send pictures to this. Even like once per second would be reasonable. So we can take this Ethernet cable. Alright, so we're also going to need, if we want to mirror the display, we will need a splitter, and the splitter also needs power. What a mess. We'll just unplug that Ethernet. There's the power. At one time it was well packed, but it was assembled. So I just gradually picked it apart and now reorganized it. So that's the case to take everything apart every time, but sometimes you just have a kit that you leave together. So finally. Plug that in. I don't remember if there's a light, and if there is, I probably covered it up. I remember this has 2 LEDs on it, one for each output display. I remember only one of them working, even if 2 displays were plugged in. So we'll see what happens with that. So we've got a cable on the encoder already. So input, so this box, output, we'll say output 1 is the encoder. I don't remember if it matters. I think output 1 controls the output signal, and then it tells number 2 that that's what it has, or something like that. So output 2 will be this TV screen. And then input will be what is now plugged into the output. Okay, there's a LED on this side as well. So the input will be the output. Okay, no problem with hot plug, HDMI. Hopefully soon this will all be USB-C as well. Alright, so there is no light. Oh wait, did it light? Okay, so there's no light on that box right there, and I hope this is the right adapter. DC 5 volt and uh-oh, battery is low on the voice recorder. So swap out the batteries. I think these are charged. They may be only to 75%, but we can get these ones recharging. See, this whole stream is going to be used by people to try to ruin me. So why am I being so foolish as to stream when I'm opening the door for people to ruin me? Why are people trying to ruin me? That's the question. Are they trying to ruin me? Are they trying to ruin homeless people? Are they trying to ruin tech people? Like, what are they trying to ruin? I don't even know. They're just like trying to ruin it. Alright, so record is going, charge is going. Alright. So back to the encoder box. So HDMI out to encoder box 1. Oh, I actually have a little diagram of what should be where. So HDMI 2, it looks like, I cannot tell if it's monitor or encoder. It looks more like monitor. It's covered up by 2 pieces of tape. So it looks like 2 should be to the encoder. So that would, we'll see what happens. So then this HDMI cable goes into here. Alright, now then I brought this light over to see if this thing is actually 5 volt. 5 volt 1A. This does not say it's amps. So 1A, hopefully that's not too intense. Okay, we have a light on one side. It blinked anyway. Now it's steady for input, steady for power, and steady for the TV output, okay. And actually the camera has frozen on my end, so of course it did. Okay, so missed the key part, but this is the encoder box. Input from here, the computer, this camera up here. Oh yeah, so this is our new remote viewer. So now we can look down here. We can put a light onto the camera. Hey, there we go. Now it's a fish swimming around with its own little light. And this thing can dial way up to 4K, I think, if not 1080 at least. What happens in the spiritual realm when a member of another faith prays against you and you have Christian faith? It's just going to depend on the individual, I guess. I'm not in the position to give this kind of answer. You can ask all you want, but I can't give any kind of answer right now. Cool. So what kinds of homelessness problems can this setup address? Sitting here talking about religion right now, I don't think is going to solve homelessness. So in order for this thing to receive its own video, we just hooked it into the Ethernet port, which is behind this ribbon cable, which is connected to the camera. Right there. And then we have an Ethernet port over here. And then we have an Ethernet cable right here. You see where this is going? See, we prepare ourselves and then we execute. So, homeless person still has the ability to make a plan and execute it, however small. Little detail, this is touch screen. You can see the thingy moving around maybe. Guys, quick, he's making tech. Let's bring up some totally unrelated inflammatory stuff. Why are you vegan? Let's help him alienate almost the entire country, guys. You're going in timeout again. Just for not having sense. The questions are fine, but you just don't have any sense. So now we can plug this into our handy dandy power strip. And we get a handy dandy light on. And depending how it's configured, so this thing is receiving data, which is interesting. No, it's, well, yeah, this thing would just be trying, it doesn't know who it's connected to, anything like that. It's just, well, no, if it's TCP, it would have to, those could all be connection requests. Very interesting. Like, I'm trying to end homelessness, not alienate people. Come on, have sense. Now, if creating that kind of, doing that kind of thing to people is your job, then cool, good job. Where is the, alright, so I have to, I can't just move the mouse around, I have to actually like press a button to get the mouse to start moving around. So I was thinking this thing would have some kind of like rendering precedence where it would go over all the regular stuff. Does not seem to be the case. It's in a regular window. Let's see if it works when I drag it onto the little touch screen, because I think that also had a problem once where it did not show, and indeed it does show there as well. It's a little bit more tied down now. I'm going to try to just get it for the sake of documentation. You can see it moving around on that side. Not so much here, it's in the bottom corner right here. There we go, documented. So yeah, why don't I just do this every single day? Well, maybe if I don't get robbed, I'll do it again tomorrow. Maybe I'm just in fear. And then you have that problem where you have two different input devices and you move the wrong one. So right now it's in 640 by 480 format. That's probably fine for now, and so as far as receiving that Ethernet data, what's going on with that? I definitely don't have that set up. Control-Shift-T. So we can do Nginx to see if the binary's there. Nope. So that's what I set up to receive that data usually. What is this IP address? It is not configured with an IP address. It has only received 1.6 kilobytes. So yeah, this thing is just blasting away, transmitting stuff, which is interesting. I might have configured it to UDP. I may have made it UDP. Interesting. Let's see. Do I have any notes on it? I can probably just reset it. There's a little button to reset it, so. But if I do that, so now how do I receive the data? Because this thing's not on the internet. And I could get it on this Wi-Fi, but I don't really want to register more than one device on this Wi-Fi. And I don't know if peers on this Wi-Fi can talk to each other. So I'd rather just not register it until I'm sure. Because I might switch to a Pi 4 or Pi 5, and then I've got to go through the administrative process, tell them that the device should no longer be registered, whatever. I just don't want to deal with that right now. So it will not go on the Wi-Fi. It does go on the phone's Wi-Fi. Mint Mobile is giving me unlimited Wi-Fi as well, starting next billing period. So I will be able to just tether everything to the phone at all times for everything, as I did when I had Verizon. Like when I had Verizon, I would go to coffee shops and still just tether to the phone. Without my homeless identity, what am I? I am what I am doing in this stream. The software student says, hang in there from the northeast, chilly here. What's up, what's up? I bet. Stay warm. So yeah, I'm just showing off the carpenter stuff. Earlier in this stream, I did a explanation of the physics of homelessness. So my homeless identity is it's not my identity because I want it to be. I want it to not be my identity. So what is it like? I'm a person who works hard, grows, is curious, all kinds of stuff. Furnace went, using electric heaters to warm the house, keep fighting the good fight. Dang. Something very interesting that I've heard from people here in the Central Valley of California is that electricity is cheaper than gas. And so using electric heaters still leads to heating bills of under $100, but using gas is very expensive. So uh, even if it gets to like 40 degrees here, if you're using grid electricity, it's dirt cheap. And so you could just heat your house and it's practically free, allegedly. So there's another point against living in the Midwest, right? It's the heating bills. People are like, oh, rent is so cheap. One, it's not cheaper than here. And two, well, here, there's also not really, so I was thinking you probably paid gas, but apparently electricity is so, I mean not apparently, but allegedly, electricity is so cheap that it's practically free to heat as well. So, yeah, very interesting. I mean, California, sunshine, like, is that so, now that solar is here, I mean, solar is really here. I've got a 100-watt solar flexible panel in the back of my car. Let's see what we can see. Still kind of in the frame, yeah. I'm focused on this, but then the perspective is coming over here, so you're actually seeing a lot of nothing, so the frame's not that great. But so yeah, I just foolishly ended up in such an amazing place for a person in poverty. And it's not that I whatever. I was brought to California twice, so I've got just as much right to be here as anyone else. And I obviously have relevant, I have business here, don't I? Maybe I don't literally have a client here right now, but my clients here come very easy. I just have to be in the situation to get them and presentable enough to get them and have the space to do work for them. And, taking work the first day I sign up for a co-working space, I don't know. It's like a year to get used to at least like what the seasons are like in a place, even though I read about it on Wikipedia before I came. Like the year marker here is like, it's pretty big. So, I mean, I've said like back to like Thanksgiving, probably after the holidays, I can probably get stuff moving. So, yeah, it's a while after the holidays, but doesn't it feel like it's been like, how long does it feel like it's been since the holidays? Everyone's saying it was the blink of an eye, right? Am I exempt from that? I mean, the days have been so short. Like, I'm not making excuses, but like everybody is experiencing this. It's not like it's just me. But yeah, I mean, every day the sun's up a couple minutes earlier now, so like there's a whole different pseudoscience of energy, right? Now that I've mentioned it, yeah, okay, the pseudoscience of energy and vibration. It's a useful way of speaking, like even if it's not literally scientifically fact, it's a logical explanation, like, okay, are token ring liars because they call a network token ring even though it's physically got so it's a logical ring. It's not a physical ring. It's physically a centralized model like Ethernet, but logically a ring is still passing around the token. I mean, a token is still passing around the ring. So is it lying to talk about energy and vibration and this, if it's a useful tool to communicate with people? Or is it just a useful tool that has some internal consistency that can be spoken about and people get intuitively. Science is inspired by the natural world, and we understand the natural world through our senses first. So if we can only talk about what's scientifically valid and accurate, then there would never have been a science. Still blasting away on that transmit. So it's configured for something. I'm going to bet it's set up to do the last thing that I did live on the channel with it, which was I had this Windows laptop. It had an IP address. This thing blasted to that IP address. And then this thing, when it was running, actually if I booted back into Windows, that would work. The same, because it's the same Windows. So then I had a port forward set up. So there was no actual server running in a user process. There was just a port forward that took the RTMP port, I think the default, and just forwarded out to rtmp.youtube.com. So this thing's configured with the YouTube credentials, but it connects to the IP address of this laptop. Yes, that's got to be how it's configured. Now, have I reset the YouTube channel key since then? I believe I have. So, in order to reconfigure it, I would have to remember the IP address I gave it, remember the right IP address to give to the Raspberry Pi, connect from the Raspberry Pi to that. Or I reset it and use the instructions that are on the back with the IP address that's on the back. And to do that, then I'd have to just set this guy's IP address to one on the same subnet that could then talk to it. So I think it's 192.168.160. No, it says 192.168.1.168. So it's on the .1 subnet that most routers ship with, so it'll join up to a network 168 is probably out of the default. Somewhere in the default range that will probably not be likely to be hit with a DHCP assignment. Just making this up, but if I were an engineer building this, that's how I would do this. If there was a static address printed on the back, I figure out what like the major router brands give for DHCP ranges out of the box, and then go somewhere outside of those or on the high end of those where you'd have to have a lot of devices plugged in to get a conflict. Which, if that's the case, you probably have some proficiency in, setting up another box with a static IP address that's not on the LAN, configuring it to connect to the LAN, plugging it into the LAN. It's a couple steps, but it's manageable. But yeah, while I'm homeless, I'm going to, at least on the channel, talk about it. I'm not going to my workplace and being, giving the exact same topics as I give on the channel. Like, they even want to listen to me, they don't, the less I open my mouth, the better, so fine. But yeah, why should I bring up that I'm homeless at work? Like, I'm not at work chatting with people like a lot of people do. Hence, I get the special assignments, I get, a lot of latitude. Like, I'm good. it's only one. We've got about, I probably have to get off the stream by 5. Because sometimes people come into the office at like 5:30, and I'd just rather be out of here by that time. So I can still be at a regular desk spot, I just will be out of the conference room and off the stream. I'll probably wrap up before 5 so that I can put this stuff away, hopefully not get robbed at 5 in the morning. Hopefully all the rough elements outside are, sleeping or something at 5. So yeah, I do not have a Ethernet adapter for the laptop, so I would have to hook both of these up to the phone's Wi-Fi to get them to talk to each other. So then this guy would send the data to the Raspberry Pi. I'd have to set up the software on the Pi to receive the data and forward it back out to YouTube or whatever. So then what I'd want to do is also have it record to the disk. And my iSpooge package from 2018 on GitHub has some configuration to demonstrate that, so I could just go there, get that config. Shouldn't have changed at all, if not too much, into the latest version of Nginx, which is like 5 years old. That stuff's usually pretty stable. So this is the fun stuff, but then we still have basic stuff like digitizing, like, we've got editing the book, we've got digitizing and basically doing data entry for the receipts. So if we sell one of these, then suddenly it's a little bit profitable to do this kind of stuff. These are for sale on Gumroad. I believe still using the Raspberry Pi 3. And I would not probably support anything else for now. Like, I'd rather just have one generation of product, even if it's on old technology. Like, this thing's solid. I did run the 4 with 8 gigs of RAM for like 1 to 2 years as well. So that's probably the next step. If not, just a straight jump to the 5. I probably need to get a bigger USB-C power supply. I'll get one with a return policy, so if it doesn't work out, I'll just return it. And yeah, if that doesn't work out, then getting a Pi 5 would probably shift development to the Pi 5. But with the Pi 5 out, that means Pi 4s, depending how widely deployed they are, if they're not widely deployed, then Pi 4s will be pretty cheap. But if they're widely deployed, then they won't necessarily get too much cheaper. Like, out of the box right now, if you go to Best Buy, they're the same price new. Like a 5 is like $5 or $10 more. And on Amazon, I think they're actually like $100 less. I think they're like 90 bucks on Amazon, but like 180 at Best Buy, which is crazy. That much room for like a teeny tiny little box to keep stocked. But yeah, doing business while homeless. Once your basic needs are met, then you start having to do business. See, like, you notice people naturally are not giving any kind of charity because they're like, bro, you're good. Like, just do some business. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just doing some business. Although having housing would make doing business so much easier, but in a way I've never worked up to the point of acquiring housing from nothing. You know, housing was given to me and then I just bought a house and then I just always had places to live and then I didn't. And now I don't, and now I have to figure out how to get a place to live when I don't have a place to live. I have to show y'all that I can do something valuable. So valuable that you want to give me money for it. Or if not y'all, then somebody. And if not y'all, then who? Well, I always have good luck in Silicon Valley. So maybe that $1,800 a month rent isn't that bad. Well, if it's so easy, why didn't you just get some before you got out of your apartment? Because I was super messed up. I was traumatized. Does that mean I'm traumatized now? Maybe in different ways, but oh, well, the trauma just makes you stronger. That is so freaking not smart. It's not required, but well, unless there's a God and God requires it. But there's no factual proof of God in this reality, as somebody said. And making a claim for a lack of something, I think is logically impossible. There is proof by like reduction to absurdity. So that's kind of like the teapot somewhere between Saturn and Jupiter or whatever. Like it would be absurd to try to find it or to try to prove that it wasn't there or something. I don't, maybe that wasn't reduction to absurdity. But reduction to absurdity was common in computer science. But it's been 7 years on the street, and before I was on the street, my computer science was pretty good. The office, Mars asks, how much does the office cost you? It costs $200 a month, 180, and I do not have to go to Starbucks to work, which means $4 per visit at least for a couple hours tops. So $4 per day times 30 is how much? Which, yes, literally every single day, because I have nowhere else to go, right? So I have to go somewhere. Go to the library. The library is closed 3 days per week. There's often elements at the library that cause me to leave. So there's going to be much Starbucks. Now, $4 for one coffee, right? I get a refill, I'm gonna leave a tip, $1. I think it's like $4.50 with tips for the first round. Like $3.50 for the coffee plus the dollar tip. Right? So we're at $5.50. Now if I go once before work, once after work, probably not a refill that time, but still a dollar tip, or $4.50 more. So that is, I am saving money by having this office space. So people would say, oh, cut the office space, save some money. Well, then what? Like, it's a system. It's a complex system. I get to shave every morning here if I want to. Like, I can shave at work as well, thankfully. I've got 2 options. 3 if I count the gym, but I am limited to 20 minutes at the gym, so I'm best to shave somewhere other than the gym. So I come here first thing. My coffee budget, as based on the receipts, is about $300 plus per month. So I'm saving $100 per month by having this office. And that gives me budget for what you see in front of you, which is about $2 per can. So 50 cans of Red Bull plus this office space is cheaper than Starbucks. So that is my response to that criticism. Do I drink 50 per month? Probably close. Because I bring one to work always. I don't always drink it. But just in case, if there's a rush or something, pop it open, we're good. So the software student says writing WordPress plugins with PHP and React. WordPress powers 45% of the internet. PHP stormed by JetBrains is wonderful indeed. Have I made money with WordPress? No. I've made tons of money with PHP, so I'm open to PHP-based opportunities. People will try to argue with me about, oh, you've only used PHP 6 or whatever. Maybe it was PHP 5. Right before the namespace kicked in is when I used it. So you can't possibly do a PHP work for me. I know that grammar was bad, but yeah, you get what I mean. I'll hire some, well, I've advertised my rate as $16 per hour for a long time, and nobody took me up. So, do they know I could do PHP? I don't know. I don't think I'm going to advertise the $16 an hour rate anymore. That's less than minimum wage now. It might even be 15 or 16, but yeah. Oh, but if it's just to get your foot in the door, but maybe I use reverse psychology and just say that I'm not offering the rate. But if I offered the rate, maybe I'll accept. Oh, well then I just ruined my chances by telling them the strategy. Oh no. You want to play strategy games, or do you want to pay me to do some PHP? Come on. Oh, but you've never done WordPress before. Come on, I've written CMSs. I've worked with many CMSs. Like, you think I can't figure out WordPress? Well, you're homeless. Oh, you're playing up your homeless identity. Oh, homeless isn't even a protected class for whoever was trying to say that. Oh, what if you just put yourself in a protected class and then sue a bunch of employers for $10,000? Come on, man. Why would I mess with people for $10,000. Like, $10,000 is not enough to sell your soul. Come on, have a little sense. Like, most people think $10,000 is a lot of money. $10,000 is not a lot of money. That's less than I used to make in a month. Like, I'm not going to do something messed up for less than a month of what I could make with my existing skills. Have a little sense. $10,000 is not big money. Come on, dream a little bigger. Just because I'm homeless now, right, like we just talked about at the beginning of this stream, it just means that I don't have what I need to do more right now. I'm stuck figuring out camping for the most part. I'm stuck figuring out how to save enough money while I'm camping to get into a regular place, which I've been in before for most of my life. I have a very good rental history. My landlords would say I moved out and it was squeaky clean. There was never an issue. But you're homeless. Why are you using homeless as your identity? Come on, man. You should have never said anything about being homeless. Look at my conditions for a very long time. Well, just move in silence and keep your head down. That's not wrong, but that's also not who I am. Well, grow up and make it who you are. Well, someone's got to dream and build this stuff. Yeah, well, it can be somebody else. Well, if I'm internally guided to do it, oh, you just want the status and prestige. Maybe you just want my status and prestige. Why are you lying? I'm showing people what happens. Be so good the haters can't say anything. Should we install Wireshark and see what packets it's sending? Then we can actually get a definitive which IP address is it trying to talk to. Because, oh, but Harlan, it says it's not receiving any bytes. Yeah, well, we can listen to the whole interface, not just what it's configured to be listening to. It's not even configured with an IP address, so of course it's not getting any packets. The only bytes it's going to be getting are so there's the whole OSI model. So TCP IP is what this would be showing, and that's like layer 4. So this activity could be layer 1 MAC address, or no, layer 1 just physical, ones and zeros, layer 2 MAC, layer 3 TCP, or no, layer 3 IP, layer 4 TCP or UDP. So this is IP address is a layer 4 count, but there's still lower layers that light is indicating. So Wireshark lets us go down into those deeper layers. That sounds like a marketable skill to show off. Okay, let's get this thing on the internet. Good thing it's already set up to go on the internet through the iPhone. It's a handy dandy iPhone. which has 40% battery. That should be okay for a while. Get it out of airplane mode. Get it into personal hotspots. Okay, this thing should notice it on its own. Looks like it's on the top right blinking. iPhone. Oh, I did not set it up. Okay. Looks like it missed a key. Sometimes we miss letters with this thing. Connected, and we have a weird IP address of 172.20.10.6. I think I remember that being the iPhone, range. Cool, cool. So, Carputer is online. Now we go sudo apt. We don't have to do sudo for apt cache search. I was going to do apt-get install, but I'm going to do apt cache search. But it doesn't hurt because we have to type the password once and then it remembers. Let's apt cache search Wireshark. With one W. Yeah, PHP is a good skill to learn. Make some money. So yeah, just Wireshark package. So then we'll just change that command to apt-get install with a little strategic edit. Apt-get in, minimize the number of keys pressed. Boom. And WordPress also is a good skill, even without PHP. You can do a lot with just WordPress without PHP. So this will install 115 megabytes of extra disk space. Yes, let's continue. Dumpcap can be installed in a way that allows members of the Wireshark system group to capture packets. It's recommended over the alternative of running it directly as root because, oh, that's cool. So I'll want to add myself to the Wireshark user, and then I'll have to log out and back in. So it is, oh, it's disabled by default. Dumpcap can be installed, okay. Good to know. Let me take a handy dandy screenshot. Forget little keyboard doesn't have a working print screen button. And there doesn't seem to be a menu appearing when I right click up here. Screen dump, no. X. Screenshot. Take picture with iPhone. That works too. Should non-super users be able to capture packets? Nah, well, if I want the UI, can I do multiple logins at once? Can I switch users? Shut down, dot, dot, dot. Shut down, reboot, or log out. Not switch users. Yeah, why not? Let's go for it. It's probably what it's going to do, is what it just talked about. So even though it's default, it might still give the option in the UI, okay? The software student says the shared space office you're in must be worth its weight in gold. A good break during each day. I was once a member of a makerspace. Yeah, I mean, I don't hang out in here either. It keeps me, like way back on the channel, I talk about having separate spaces for separate things. I have designated the kitchen as cool to sit down and watch videos or something, like if I bring in the cooking stuff, because I'll cook, I'll eat, I'll have something playing in the background. And when I got the space, the laptop did not even have a working battery, so I had to be plugged in. So whenever I went to Starbucks or something, I had to be plugged in. Whenever I used it in the car, I had to use the Jackery, so I had to keep the Jackery charged. So I would bring in a Jackery to here and charge that up so I could use the laptop. I would carry the Jackery out onto the hiking trail 20, 30 plus minutes into the Lizardland space. One of the Jackeries fell into the creek. It rolled down a hill, tumbled into the creek, and now the AC inverter does not work on it. So yeah, one of my Jackeries doesn't have an AC inverter, and one only has an AC inverter. So the USB and everything, well, not only, it's also got a 12 volt line, but I need an adapter for that. Shouldn't be too hard to track one down. There's also some limitations about using it while charging. So if I were to make a car system with it, which is its most likely thing, I usually keep it plugged into the solar panel. So I could also power the laptop from the solar panel for a little period. But anyway, yeah. A homeless person needs at least a few dollars a day for space. And so at $180 per month, what does that make the price of this space? I think it's like $6 per day. 6 times 30 is, I think 180. 3 times 60, yeah, 120, 180. So $6 a day for this space. Y'all, nobody has told me to get rid of this space to save money. But also rent in this town is $750. So get rid of this space and rent is now 500 per month. How do we make up that 500? Storage and gym, another 140. So now we're at 360. Where does that 360 come from? Okay, it might be getting a little bit hard. Food budget, going to Taco Bell every day because I don't have a space to cook. Now, I ate some food I cooked. I got 6 portions out of my triple batch. I've been learning a recipe that's good and everything, and then scaling that recipe doesn't just happen overnight. There's a period where you have to be eating something else while you're doing this. Oh, just kidding. It's all just magic. No, come on. This guy on Twitter got mad, big mad. You can go and look at my replies. This guy got big mad. He's like, you have to eat Taco Bell? Yes, I have to eat Taco Bell. Or something on that spectrum. Like, yeah, $6 a day for a safe space is very good. Thank you, the software student. So, yeah, but I mean, it's still in kind of a rough neighborhood, so I'm not wanting to bring this crate of electronics in too much. I mean, I've done it today. Maybe if I go out at 5 in the morning every night, then yeah. But anyway, it's because then go and put it back in my trunk and then go to work. This is a super safe town overall, but it doesn't mean I'm wrong to be a little bit skeptical about walking up the street with valuables in my hand. And I just don't want to park the car next to it also, just because I just don't want it to be too close. Like, if I walk out of here and there's a weirdo outside like there has been, I want to have the option of not showing them where I'm parked, not showing them what my car is. So now they know my car every day. No, I park a couple blocks away so that if there's some kind of weirdo, I can get a sense for if somebody is following me or watching me also. So if something's weird, I just walk past my car. I just loop around a few blocks or something. I almost never do that. Like, even if I feel weird about somebody, I'll still usually get into the car. But there was that one time where I'm pretty sure that guy was watching me. And I haven't seen that guy again, by the way. So I don't know what the situation with that guy was. Nobody talked to me about it. But it was just off. So anyway, but yeah, I parked a couple. That's another urban camping / doing business while homeless thing. You're homeless trying to stack up money. Do you think that doesn't paint a target on you? Oh well, just don't show it off then. Don't wear these clothes. This is what I will wear no matter how poor or rich I am. These are the good clothes. And it's not like they're luxury. They're, it cost a good, it was $55 for this wool undergarment. If I had bought the pair together, it would have been 90 or $100. But between the two, it was $110, and I got 2 free pairs of wool socks with them. So, to live, I'm sleeping in 35-degree weather. I sleep in this stuff. And, okay, Taco Bell, talking about crap food and poison. Well, I only eat the vegan option out of Taco Bell, so I'm not getting any of the toxins that are in most, I'm not even going to make any claim about Taco Bell's meat quality. It's just, by definition, meat has more heavy stuff in it, and then you're going to be sweating it out. It's going to cause you to stink more. So just from a practical perspective, the less toxins you're putting in, the better. Now, can vegetables have toxins in them? Definitely. So I don't want to make too many claims about that, but it's like just when you have to be eating fast food, you can be most confident in non-dairy, non-animal product. Like you can be most confident in that stuff. So it's a practical choice. You're fasting from it, as I was talking about in the last stream, for, if nothing else, a practical reason. Now, the reason I even became vegetarian was because I had a system of sponges to prevent cross-contamination, where I had like my counter sponge, my plant sponge, and then my animal product sponge. So if I was only making vegetables, I would just use the vegetable stuff, right? So, and I would clip corners to indicate which sponge it was, so I visually could see, so I would not get confused. It was like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 kind of thing. And eventually when all the corners were cut, it was the toilet sponge. So reuse, recycle, right? So there's that whole system. I don't need 6 sponges. I have my first sponge and then my corner clipped and 2 corners clipped and 3 corners. So it's like progressing the sponges through the down the toilet bowl instead of having 6 different sponges to manage. Like, I mean, I had 6 of them eventually, but they were all from the same pipeline instead of going in the garbage. So manifestation of sickness was the little download that I got that turned me vegetarian. Because I was like, dang, I'm putting energy into not getting sick from what I'm eating. Dang. So if I have to put energy into not getting sick, and you're homeless and you're lacking energy to do a lot of things, why do something that you have to put energy into not getting sick from? Just do it so you don't have to put energy into not getting sick. Fast from everything, aka be vegan. Like, is that so delusional or crazy? I mean, it sounds pretty conservation of energy rational to me. And you don't even have to agree that you're gonna be vegan, because if you're not in that situation that you have to conserve energy, you can still say, yes, it's rational, and yes, I don't have to do it. Like, everybody wins. Like, unless I'm wrong about cross-contamination between different kinds of food, like you know, if everything in the food handler examination is lies, okay. Otherwise, I'm being consistent with food handling practices, which I know about as a food worker. So, and yes, I did mute somebody, put them in timeout for asking that question earlier. But it was a 30-minute timeout, so they can speak back up. But yeah. I chose to bring it up now in a way that doesn't alienate people. So the word vegan can be alienating. Daniel diet, okay, yeah, that introduces scriptural stuff. When I worked for a vegan restaurant, we were actually not a vegan restaurant, we were a plant-based restaurant. People see that plant-based is a known marketing thing that people do, so they may not like being spoken to about plant-based things, even though I do think it's a good way of talking about it. So So it depends who you're talking to, but it's scriptural for those people. It conserves energy for those people. I mean, why even mention morality at this point? So yeah, I have this space because it's cheaper than Starbucks. I get a lot more for my money. It's efficient. Notice a theme emerging in the way that I operate, doing business while homeless. Just because I'm not homeless anymore, and it's not my identity anymore at some point, maybe by 5 a.m. in 3 hours, I will have $5,000 in the bank, and I will say, nothing. And then I will be housed after work. Right? Because I have enough money to pay rent, and $5,000 in the bank would get me into an apartment, but I can't just get into an apartment and stop having the money to pay rent. Now, if something else emerges to where I'm making $1,500 a month on the internet, then I can say, okay, boss, I don't need this job every day anymore. Maybe I'll just work 2 or 3 days a week. How does that sound to you, boss? That sounds good. Then I'm making $1,500 from the internet and a few $100s in the kitchen. Bam! Sounds like a path to housing and also growing as an entrepreneur, and right? Man, you're just being delusional. Nah, man. We're at war with my homelessness, and once my homelessness is solved, then that of others can follow the same path. All right, so Wireshark is installed. Now it should be in the menu. Internet, Wireshark, yo. So this very video should be coming through TCP packets. How cool is that? Because we've got the HDMI out going out to this IPTV, this splitter, and then out of this splitter into the IPTV encoder, and then the IPTV encoder is sending it back through Ethernet. Okay, welcome to Wireshark. I've known about this since high school, so I'm an avid packet capturer. Back then we used hubs instead of switches, so we could capture all the packets. Yes, you heard me right. All the packets could be captured. So, Cisco remote capture, Cisco dump. I don't think I'm interested. I just wanted to click this bin. What happened? What is that? Start capturing packets. Okay. We don't need any of this. So it would seem that this might have been acquired or something. So maybe I'll go to File, Open, Open Capture File, no. Let's see, Capture Options. Okay, we do not want Cisco Remote Capture. We want Wi-Fi remote capture, but I want Ethernet. Enable promiscuous mode on all interfaces. Okay. Maybe those are just options and not actually a highlight-based selection. Local interfaces, but I'm not seeing Ethernet. Unless it's just rolled up under Wi-Fi. Let's see. We'll do a apt cache search for Wireshark, and then we will filter that wherever the pipe symbol is. Here? No. Here. Well, the key is registering something different than is printed on it, so it might have a different keyboard mapping. Yeah, it's sending like pound and slash, no tilde. Weird. Dang. Telling me that I can't make a pipe symbol on screen keyboard. Maybe that'll help. I probably have to go like preferences and turn on screen keyboard. Keyboard. Yeah, Raspberry Pi OS is different than Ubuntu Mate that I usually use. That's why I'm a little bit unsure about some things. Oh, you don't have to be insecure. It's okay. Just stating. Anyone could be the audience of those statements. It could be for the editor, which there will be an editor at some point. If not me, someone will wear that hat. So, let's see. I'll just do that again and scroll through to see if there's like a Ethernet capture filter. Ethernet packet generator. I don't know. I'm just going to click start. See what happens now. Yeah, it wants that Cisco thing. Okay, what is this? All interfaces shown. No, I don't want to external. Show hidden interfaces. I don't know anything about this Cisco remote capture. I think there's a fork of Wireshark that doesn't have this stuff. Software student says, I figure the wage in tech can be very good, so it's important to remain in the game and do something tech. The space facilities remaining in tech and providing hope. Yeah, I mean, this is the best I've been able to do in tech in a while. The last being the Hacker Dojo before our pandemic, and then pandemic just shut everything down. I mean, I would bring in stuff to the library sometimes, but this is like pre-Jackery. So all my, the homeless data project, the receipts showing like when I got everything, I haven't just always had all of this stuff. So you could like take screenshots of me saying this or that while I'm in the back of a car in solitary confinement, literally only able to be out an hour a day during pandemic. Like, oh well, why didn't you just find a job like during that time? The gyms shut down, like all kinds of stuff. I mean, I was washing myself the best I could while I had that job for like 6 months, but if you just don't understand that, then you don't want to understand, because I've provided so many receipts and explained it in so many ways. Like, you have to not want to be seeing it. Like, you just have to want to misunderstand. It takes a lot of different stuff to build this stuff up, hence documenting it. And, like, why develop your own apps to document it and stuff? Well, I used email and it failed for various reasons. I used Apple Notes, it failed for various reasons. Why not just use default, editors for whatever OS? Granted, yes, that's a very good way of doing it. I have a little space. I wrote the original Notes app just on this. I lived, just on this with that tiny screen and everything. I wrote the Notes app on there. Hence a lot of the constrained technology choices. Many of the apps that I have right now that have JavaScript UIs, I wrote on this little thing. Now I'm bringing it further on the laptop because I have the laptop now. But this was a good balance between what you could get in a laptop at the time and price. I already had a bunch of them laying around. So I just needed this case and this screen that was like $70. So I wasn't going to get that great of a laptop for $70. So I was able to turn my Raspberry Pi into a portable enough little computer for like $70 using stuff I already mostly had. Using a little battery pack that I was able to get for like $15 that also powered the phone pre-Jackery. So a timeline of like when I got all this stuff will show you exactly why I made the design choices I made, because it's what I could afford. It's what was it within my reach, and also, I've got the skills that it was able to also stimulate me. So I don't watch TV or movies or anything. Like, I don't binge stuff to fall